There is a meaning buried within the sound.
Okay, I do believe it's Friday morning. One thing I need to do today, actually several things. The power inverter that I run on the bus here, I've got the big batteries and whatnot. Well, I got some circuit breakers for it when I set that up like 6 months ago or whenever it was. Turns out those breakers are not rated for the amperage that they were supposed to be rated for. Obviously I bought them on Amazon and, well, they claim to be like 250 or 300 amps or something, but they get hot and disconnect and start melting long before that. So, I got some different ones. These ones feel like they're about the right weight. These are 200 amp DC breakers with a little reset thing on there. Interesting note as well, the studs on the power cables seem to be a lot more significant on this one. So we're going to go out there and see if we can get these swapped out. First off though, I'm going to use throw that on the floor first of all. Second of all, I'm going to use the thermal camera. I've got a couple of loads on in here right now, and we're going to check and see how hot those things are actually getting. And I'm going to get some photos and attempt to post a review on Amazon indicating that these things are potentially not safe. Although anytime I do that, the review winds up getting flagged as violating community guidelines. Oh, and the 6th or 7th thing or whatever we're number up to, all my coffee cups or commuter mugs are dirty, so I need to wash those today. I've been reduced to drinking my iced coffee in an open top Dixie cup like a charlatan. It takes a lot of concentration to hold this without spilling it. Okay. Oh, and air conditioning. We're going to talk about that thing. This is one of those times where I picked up the camera and started filming and I have no idea what's going to end up in the video and what's not. But until then, I'm going to continue trying to gnaw my way into the string cheese. Some of them come off the machine and then they don't want to open. Why am I telling you that though? Is this really... Ha! Got it. Okay, well, I decided it's time to retire the old DeWalt toolkit, so I got this thing. I'm working on getting my portable AC unit installed in here, and I was able to find a really good spot to ventilate it. It's going to involve drilling another hole in the floor, but I don't care. I've actually got, let's see, where did it go? I've got a through-hole fitting, so I can plug the hole when I'm not using it. I originally went there just to buy some giant hole saws, and then I realized I don't have a drill that can turn that. So I started looking at drills, and then I came across this Matebo kit. Inch pounds? I don't know, but it comes with a little quarter drive impact sawzall and an oscillating, obnoxious sounding tool thing. Both of these are very handy. So, anyways, decided to buy this. I don't know who makes it, and I don't really care. Boy, there's a lot of boxes inside boxes. There's only really 2 manufacturers, or 2 factories, that make all these tools. So, they're pretty much all the same in my book. But I figured this was a pretty good form factor for a little sawzall. Actually, it feels nice in the hand. Anyways, I'm going to unpack the rest of this, get the batteries charging, and then start cutting some holes. Yay! Okay, I just opened the drills. This is significantly smaller than I thought. I think my Ryobi will probably have a better chance at turning one of those hole saws than this thing will. It's nice and compact though. And so is this little impact driver. Anyways, it came with 2 batteries, so maybe we can do something. Okay, you tell me. Here's the Ryobi. Here's the Matebo. They sound exactly the same. Pretty sure those two are made in the same place. Yeah, anyways. It's nice to have a little compact drill. It's not that much smaller than the Ryobi. I guess maybe... No, they are twins. This thing, though, is actually going to be really handy. A compact 1/4-inch impact driver that's this small. Super, super handy. I do have another one of these that's Ryobi. This one has a little more brute force, though. It's not brushless. Boy, that thing's got some war wounds. Used to be owned by Rick. But as you can see here, yeah, the size doesn't come through very well, but it's significantly smaller. You can see it's about the same size as my hand, whereas this thing, a little bit bigger. So, anyways. Oscillating tool uses these little blades. Super handy, especially when you're carving holes in the floor. This thing, on the other hand, actually feels really skookum. So I'm kind of excited to have this. Anyways, lots of tools. Yay! So I was doing some wandering around and trying to figure out a good spot to ventilate that AC. And then I remembered the, let's see, evaporator, condenser. I always forget which is which. But this is the bus AC system. Look at how big that is, Wah. This system uses R438A, and these are 112 volt fans. So they pull air through here, blow it out the bottom. But we have this nice little cavern here that's completely lined in metal. And this goes back in, well, actually the fuel tank and stuff is up there. Then in here is the heater core and the other half of the air conditioning system. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna punch a hole through that wall, focus. We're gonna punch a hole through that wall right there. And this whole area is coated in metal and it's designed to deal with humidity and stuff. So we don't need to worry about that. But the plan is to come down from here and then just basically go through that wall into that area. So it'll keep all the heat and humidity out of here where the inverter and everything is. And yeah, I think we should be good. So I just came down here to kind of mark out where this is gonna be. I think we're gonna run it right through here. And since it is plywood, I can patch it later if I need to. But right now, I need AC in here. This thing has been working good, but it's supposed to be like 90 something in the next few days. And yeah, I've got to watch out for overheating and stuff. So anyways, that's the plan. Ew, gross. Yeah, pretty cool that this just kind of swings open though, and you have access to all this stuff down here. Sweet. Okay, interesting note where, oh, my battery went dead on this. This Ryobi one just keeps cutting out. I couldn't get it to start spinning this. Whereas this thing actually lets you get a lot lower speed and just keeps right on chooching along. Now, I've got the other battery uncharged. I just grabbed one of them right out of the package and started using it. But yeah, really interesting. This thing also sounds a lot different when it's under load than this thing does. How nuts is it that this little thing is turning this 5-inch hole saw, cutting through rubber and wood? I mean, I'm impressed. And it fits under this shelf. That's the other thing too. If I gotten a bigger drill, it wouldn't have fit under here. Anyways, I'm gonna continue working. Just waiting for this battery to finish charging. Then we'll charge up the other one. All right, we've got a plug with some rubber. I'm gonna save this for future uses, but in theory, hey, look at that. We've got a little bung that plugs in here and goes right down where we need it to. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go down below and fire up the other hole saw and make our hole that goes into this area over here. Okay, I have absolutely no idea if that's how that fitting is supposed to be used, but that's how I used it. I pushed it through, snapped in place, bent the little tabs out, and yeah, seems to be something. So I think we are pretty much done in here. So I'm gonna work on fitting the rest of the tubing, and then I think we're probably good. All right, we've got it hooked up. I just fired it up. Compressor should kick on here shortly. We've got our plug that goes down through the floor, and I will go outside and show you what that looks like. Okay, so this blower should kick on here any minute and exhaust out there. And like I said before, I'll go into this area and I'll seal it with metal. I think I'm repeating myself. I do that a lot. But anyways, we had to go down to 4-inch pipe instead of 5-inch pipe. So it'll be interesting to see if that affects our flow rate at all. But yeah, it takes about 3 minutes before that compressor actually fires up in there. All right, there we go, just kicked on. Let's see how much flow we're getting here. Yeah, I'm not sure what the CFM is on that, but it's a pretty good amount. Hopefully it'll work all right with the 4-inch pipe. And then over here on this side, it's pretty quiet. I can tell it's starting to get a little bit warm, but yeah, I think we should be good. That fitting's screwed to the floor up there, so yeah. And it's venting out from under here. Maybe you can hear, I don't know. Sweet, I think we have air conditioning. Yeah. So this little guy, we definitely gave it a hot supper, and it actually did the job beautifully. It did go into thermal lockout once on me, but I would much rather abuse a brand new tool that I just bought than one that's old and out of warranty. That way, you know, I can just go back and be like, oh yeah, it was a crib death. It doesn't work. And also, it lets me know exactly what it can handle. But it'll operate in thermal rollback for a while at partial power, and then it just completely cuts out. But all you gotta do is swap the battery, take the tool off, run it on high speed for a minute, cools right back down, and you're good to go. So, yeah, I'm super happy with this thing. All right, it is proper summer out here. Getting pretty warm. So, oh no, I'm just looking at these things. Actually, no, hang on. Okay, yeah, they are actually more substantial. At first I was like they are twins, but the bolts are bigger. It looks like the bus bars are a little bit bigger. Okay, anyways. And a step I perhaps should have taken almost instantaneously after I installed all this, let's see how much heat we got in these breakers. So you're seeing a bunch of hot spots down here. That's reflection to the outside. But let's see. Okay, so only about 74 degrees so far on these things. There's only maybe 150 watt load on this thing right now. Actually, here, we can test that. I have my clamp ammeter. Okay, this is not going to be super accurate because I can't turn off the load, but we're just going to clamp this on here and see what we get. Except I can't read it now. Okay, I'm starting to get frustrated here. I've got too much stuff in my lap and trying to do a bunch of things. So I'm going to run a couple tests real quick, and then I will show you what I found. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are going to fire up this here toaster oven. Actually, that's fine right there. To put a little bit of a load on the inverter, and then we're going to run outside and see what kind of amperage we're pulling and how hot everything is getting. So let's run our time down here to, I guess, 5 minutes. There's nothing in there. And I've got my clamp ammeter. We're going to go outside and see how much power we're pulling on that inverter real quick. Okay, step one, we've got the thermal camera. We're going to see how hot the stuff is getting. Oh yeah, look at that. So we can definitely tell the bottom of these circuit breakers are getting warm. So this is degrees Fahrenheit. Looks like our cable clamp's a little bit warm, but that's to be expected. We're pulling easily 150 amps right now through this setup. Yeah, okay, so as I suspected, these breakers are very clearly having issues. So, the new ones, I think, should be a bit better. Also, these have pretty small mounting posts. If you look at these new ones, you can see they're a little bit bigger in diameter. So, anyways, I'm gonna run back inside. Oh, actually, here. We're gonna see if we can find the amperage. I don't think this will work, but... So the way this inverter works is pretty interesting. It actually pulses. Now, I wasn't able to zero this properly, but I know we're pulling at least 100 amps right now. So you can see it kind of pulsing up and down and freaking out there. Yeah, 130 something Fahrenheit. Okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to verify it was in fact the breakers that were giving us the problem. I'm gonna run inside and turn off all the loads, and then we're gonna work on swapping these things out. Okay, so that's off. And let's also turn off the ice maker, because that is a load that is on that thing currently. Then we're gonna shut this thing down. There we go. This was not on the inverter, but I'm just trying to remove all the electrical load from everything at the moment. Okay, let's go ahead and power this thing down all the way. There we go, that thing's off. Open our breakers. And yeah, I'm gonna open up the battery boxes here, get the cables disconnected, because these are pretty close to each other. And yeah, trying to do this while it's live, probably not the best idea in the world. So anyways, I'm gonna get this started. I'll be back in just a minute. I should have known better when I bought these things. They claim to be 250 amps each, but look at the size of the studs. These are tiny. By the way, the batteries are disconnected down here. But yeah, look how tiny these studs are. That's, yeah, I should have known better. Okay, now the difference between these two is somewhat subtle. You can see here that our connection points are significantly larger. This one claims to be 250 amps, but when you pull about 150 to 160 amps through these, they heat up and cut out, and then they start reconnecting. These, you can see, our bus bar area underneath here is a little bit wider, and this area is a little bit bigger and taller. The main difference is, though, the weight. These weigh basically nothing, and these are probably double or triple the weight. I know that's sort of a subjective thing with a video, but I don't know what this brand is. All the reviews said they were good, but yeah. So we'll give these things a go and see if they work better. But at least if nothing else, the weight is a little bit better. Yeah, good times. Okay, so quick update on these Matebo HPT drills. These things I actually like quite a bit. The impact driver seems to have a lot more torque than the Ryobi one I'm using. Well, obviously this one's brushless and a lot newer. But this drill right here, this is one we use to drill the hole through the floor with a 5-inch hole saw. I don't know what it is with this, but it works really well. The one issue I'm having right now, one of the battery cables, I know you can't see it, it's kind of tricky to film this, so I just stuck the camera way back in there. But one of the big battery lugs, this post is too big. So I'm gonna have to drill 2 of them out, actually. When I set this thing up, I had some help here with me, and we only had an afternoon to get everything done. So it was kind of like, yeah, we're taking a few shortcuts, but we just need to get everything online. And I knew that I would have to come back along later, which is kind of what's going on right now, and correct a few things. So we're gonna drill out this battery lug so we can get these new breakers in here. Then I hope we should be good. I don't think they were fake reviews for these things on Amazon. Interesting note though, the old ones, in the last 6 months since I bought these things, there's a ton of reviews saying how crappy they were. And when I bought them, originally, there weren't any reviews. So it is interesting to note, but anyways. Drilling battery cables. Always a tricky prospect. Just gonna go nice and slow. Okay. I just realized I should probably grab the vacuum cleaner, because having all these copper shavings everywhere is probably not the best idea. One nice thing about drilling this out is if you look really close, you can see that it is in fact 100% pure copper. I'm pretty sure I already knew that, but it is kind of nice to see that confirmation. And by the way, thank you to the person that sent me this vacuum. I've been using the crap out of this thing. And the cool thing is it uses the same batteries that my other cordless vac uses. So yeah, awesome. Okay, I have absolutely no idea if this shot's in frame or not, but yeah, we'll just call it good. By the way, all these battery cables, I do have them tied down, which actually made drilling this significantly easier. Looks like I'm gonna have to change out this connector as well. But let's see if we can thread this guy in here. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to loosen that up a little bit. Or all the way, that works too. Okay, before I hook that up, I'm going to get our screws back in here that hold this thing down, which, one thing that's nice, the mounting points between these crappy breakers and the ones I just got are exactly the same. So we can pick up the same holes. And I can stick this guy on here. Oh, look at that fit. That is beautimous. So the idea with all these clamps on the end of these cables, and again, I'm hoping you can see this, but the idea with all these is if something here breaks or melts or catches fire or whatever, it's gonna keep these two cables from touching each other on either side. So that's why I've got these all, clamped down. Yeah, this thing's awesome. The Matebo tools, or the Hitachi Power Tool variant, HPT as they call it. These are my new favorite cordless things, like, seriously. Once again, not sure what I was thinking with the 1/4 inch mounting lugs on these things. No way that's 250 amps. Well, and obviously we proved that because, yeah, stuff. Okay, everything's been all swapped out. I think we are ready to re-energize the system and do some testing. So I'm going to reconnect our main battery cable down here, which is just off camera, of course. So we'll throw this copper washer on here, lock washer, giant nut, tie that down, and the entire system down here inside the battery box is protected with a 250 amp slow blow mega fuse. So that provides us our short circuit protection, or catastrophic failure protection, as it were. So now we can turn our low voltage back on over here. Okay, that is on. And I think we're ready to engage our breakers. So let me get our clamp ammeter on here first, so we can keep an eye on what's going on. Okay, got that all zeroed out. Let's go ahead and kick these guys on. Okay, should be energized. Now we can power up the inverter. Okay, pulling about 6 amps on standby. Cool. Trying to think if there's anything we're forgetting here. 6 amps. I think that is basically charging up some of the backup power supplies in there. So let's run inside real quick, and I'm going to leave you guys out here looking at this meter. I'm going to run inside and turn on the toaster oven and see what our load goes up to here. Got you guys precariously perched on top of this battery box here, so you can keep an eye on that. I'm gonna go inside and turn on probably about 1600 watts worth of load. And yeah, be right back. Okay, so we fired up the ice maker and the toaster oven, and It's going to be running for about 3 minutes. Maybe the ice maker compressor already fired up. Anyways, I know we're pulling about 1700 watts on the inside. So let's see here what our thermals are doing. Yeah, 77 degrees, 74. Again, the thermal camera kind of accentuates things. You can kind of see like it looks like stuff's getting really hot right here, but that's only like 75 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's not bad at all. And our connection points on the end of the cables, as you can see, have a tiny bit of heat, but that's totally within spec. We're pulling about 89 amps, and I think we're good. Cool, well that makes sense. Having slightly better breakers, or proper quality at least, is definitely a thing. And everything looks good out here. Again, people tend to see the thermal imaging and they're not quite sure how to interpret it. These glowing parts here are fine. Those are not really that warm at all. Things are definitely gonna get warm when you have this much amperage running through, but yeah, I think we're doing good. Feel a lot better now knowing we're not trying to melt some ridiculously underrated breakers. Yeah, these are all riveted together. I will try and leave a review on Amazon. I don't know if it'll let me. Oh wow, listen to that. That sounds weak. Can you hear that noise when I release it? I know there's traffic, but listen, it makes kind of a weird springy sound. Yeah, that's a crappy thing. Well, I would expect for 16 bucks. I just noticed a few things. So right now the inverter is at about 57% load. I went ahead and turned on the toaster oven back here to its maximum setting. But what's interesting is before, if I open the fridge, the light in here would be pulsating. And it's not doing that anymore. Oh, the fridge is also running. So really interesting. I think those breakers that we had were limiting the amperage, and I should have checked the voltage drop on them. But I'm pretty sure the weird issues I was having, and also the battery gauge on that panel, was completely incorrect. I think it was because of those breakers. We were getting voltage drop and losing power going through them. And the way everything was flickering before, I even noticed like the outside lights, which run on DC, if the inverter was running, they would be pulsating. So hopefully I didn't damage the inverter by using it that way for 4 or 6 months or however long it's been. But yeah, it makes sense. If you have the right amount of power going into something, it's going to work properly, or at least like it should. I don't, yeah. Once again, I just bought those crappy little breakers because I couldn't find anything else, and I just wanted to get the system working. But yeah, it's really nice to have the proper breakers in there. Those things were about $35 each, so price and weight is kind of what I go on as far as quality for some of that stuff. But yeah, I'm really happy now. Should have done that a long time ago. Okay, bonus nachos. I got the drill and I drilled out the rivets on the bottom of this. I want to see if we can see any pretty rainbows inside this thing. This is the old one, by the way. Is everything going to go sproing? I'm sure it probably will. How does this open? Do I use unreasonable force? Whatever. Okay. Okay, let's see what the contacts look like in here. I want to see rainbows. Come out of there, you. Yeah, these contacts definitely have been to Melt Disney World and back. Huh. This thing, I don't know if it's supposed to look like that, like all warped and stuff, but RL5J1309. Let's punch that into the internet. It has, so it's a bimetal strip. It's designed to flex at a certain temperature. Okay, so temperature curvature about 130 degrees Celsius.
130 degrees Celsius is 266 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so 130 degrees C. But then that's going to be affected by this contact. That doesn't look like something that can handle 250 amps. And if you look really close at it, you can see it's all marred and welded and screwed up, so that would generate a lot of heat. Yeah, if you know anything about this stuff, feel free to look up. It's RL5J1309. That's just the bimetal strip, but this contact here, I think, is what our problem is. That's, yeah, I mean, here's my finger for reference for how big that is. Well, there you go. Our little actuating lever here is plastic with a little tiny spring. I mean, I'm sure they'd want it isolated, but yeah, it doesn't seem... Focus? Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very high quality thing. I still can't believe this contacts, though, how, like, yeah. Hard pass. Okay, I think that's good for today. AC is working all right. It's... The only problem is these single hose systems, they tend to pull the air that they've just cooled back out of the room they're in. But it's 82 degrees in here right now, which is very manageable. And as long as I keep the blinds closed, like in the morning, I keep all those closed to keep the sunlight from coming in. And then here in another hour or so, the sun's going to start coming in over here, so I'll keep these blinds closed. And that, apparently I sprung a leak. But that seems to help with keeping the temperature fairly manageable in here. So it's supposed to be 90-something today and even hotter the next couple of days. So we'll see how it works. But, man, I'm just glad those circuit breakers didn't actually start melting. I got to thinking about it, and it's, yeah, cheap parts. It's one of those things, though. It's all just imported stuff, and you can't really go after anyone because where they come from doesn't have laws about this sort of thing. So what do? Try and hold Amazon accountable? There was a class action lawsuit, from my understanding, last year with dangerous products from Amazon, and they just paid all the fines, and all the same stuff is still available. So, I don't know. I guess do your due diligence. Reviews are pretty fake. Actually, since yesterday when I started filming this, or a couple days ago, I've gotten 2 different emails from people that want to send me free products to write a review on Amazon. I used to do that a number of years ago, but I've since stopped because I don't want to be a part of the fake review problem. So, anyways, we got a few more things done. Happy about that. Yes, my thumbnail's screwed up. People feel the need to comment about that and tell me about all the reasons they think that's happening. I got it caught between a milling machine and a concrete floor a few years back. So, nothing to do with my heart or diet or anything like that. It just takes a while to go back to normal. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in a few days. I think this time I should actually have another video this week. So we'd have 2 regular videos this week and the stream or something. Anyways, well, I'm feeling better, a lot better right now. But when I started this morning, I was going to start the video by saying, brain fog, it is really a thing. My doctor's appointment got bumped again with the surgeon. It'll happen eventually, but anyways, keeping busy and making videos is part of my coping mechanism. So anyways, why did my speakers disconnect? Whatever, I'll see you guys in a few days. Thanks for watching. Gross.